All right, hey, coming through okay? All right, great. Hey, good afternoon and welcome everyone. Really appreciate you being here. I hope you're having a good time here at Next, and this is going to be a good session. Whether it is, you had this penciled in to your agenda when you downloaded the app, or whether this is the consolation prize for the Mandiant event filling up, I'm glad that you're here, and I hope to make good use of your time. So we're going to have a good conversation about cybersecurity. I will hopefully have enough time for questions at the end. We'll see how quickly we get through it, and definitely appreciate any engagement that you have or questions that you have. Please be thinking of them. I'm happy to answer them at the end. So my name is Brent Hambley. I am the leader of our North America detection and response practice. So I have the privilege of working with clients every day, helping them design, build, run their security operations, and choosing the best solutions and the partners to do that with. I'm really happy today to be talking about our partnership with Google. It's going to be a wonderful time. Just by way of background, I spent the first 10 years of my career in aerospace and defense. So learning firsthand what a well-resourced and a very determined adversary can do and can make your life very miserable. Learning a lot of lessons through that and helping secure clients for that. I then spent time as employee number 7 at a startup. It was a wonderful adventure in my career, being able to kind of share all those lessons that we had learned in a very difficult and environment to defend in aerospace and defense. And then I have the privilege for the last 4 years of being a part of Accenture and leading our North America detection and response practice. So I'm happy to be representing the team here. I stand on the shoulders of a lot of great people. Some people are here who have helped build the solution and really work together on this partnership that we have with Google. So we're going to move fast and cover a lot of ground. I know our time is going to go quickly. If you have one thing that you take away from this session, understand that Accenture and Google recently launched a new service to be able to secure our clients. It's a managed service that allows us to provide that the best-in-class technology and advanced security capabilities of Google and the years and years of delivery experience that Accenture has in security operations, and bring those two things together and deliver the value to our clients. And it's a very adaptable solution, so whatever your environment, your constraints, your budget, usually we can find a way to make that work for your environment and have you leverage the best of Google's technology and Accenture services. But before we get started, I want to share a little bit of perspective, or maybe just ground us a little bit in terms of where we're at. So if you're looking at this image, I hope it's peaceful, it's a relief. It could be Friday, this could be you on Friday. You're energized from the sessions at Google Next. You came, you have great plans for Labor Day weekend, and you have your calendar clear, your out of office is set, and just before you get out of cell range, you get a call, and it's your CIO, and they're frantic. So this is not a good start to the conversation. And they tell you that your company's cloud environment has been compromised, and the digital platform that helps you generate 80% of your revenue is down. And as the head of security, they need you back at the office as soon as possible, immediately, for as long as it takes to respond and recover from that event. And so obviously this is not a situation that we'd ever want to find ourselves or our colleagues or a loved one in, having to sacrifice their PTO to go in and handle a catastrophe in the office. I think a lot of what we're trying to do with this partnership between Accenture and Google is help save our clients the pain of that and really help them leverage some of the best practices here. So we're here to talk about those challenges, the decisions you can make today, and some of the recommendations that we have for you to have a resilient approach to cybersecurity. So, why are we here? I think a lot of that question is baked into the fact that we agree on the principles of secure by design, secure by default. That would be great if that's how everyone operated and that's how all of our solutions were. I think hopefully we all share an understanding of the business value of cybersecurity, that it is the #1 business risk, and that it is a consideration on the minds of not only the practitioners in the field, but the board of directors, right? But like brakes on a car, the better we secure our assets, the faster our business can move. And just to share a little bit of perspective, what it means to be like in security, if that's not the hat that you wear, it's a really difficult time for security leaders. And so as businesses have grown rapidly, and we've recognized the value of digital transformation, which is undeniable, it's put our security leaders in a really tough spot. Because in addition to managing all the things that have not been modernized yet, they're also responsible for the things that are being rapidly adopted across the organization. And sometimes they weren't involved in the planning process, and sometimes they weren't afforded any budget to be able to handle that. And whether it's securing your container runtime environment, or managing the lifecycle of a privileged account, or mapping your data workflows across your SaaS applications, it's really tough out there. It's a lot to keep track of as a security leader. And it's been particularly rough for security leaders because just as we were kind of gaining traction and momentum and being able to be properly resourced and get our budget requests fulfilled and get our projects activated, the threat of a global recession basically froze our funding and our hiring. So instead of kicking off those projects and growing our team as we always had hoped to, and we finally got the support top to bottom for what we're doing, we're stuck in a freeze. And we're starting to emerge from that. But it's been a really tough time. And I think that as security teams, we're always looking for every advantage that we can get in that situation to be efficient stewards of our investments. So, to put it simply, we're solving for secure modernization while also dealing with our technical debt, or we're paving the road ahead of us while we're also filling the potholes behind. And to put a finer point on it, and very relevant to this talk, digital transformation has been really disruptive to security operations. So security operations is kind of the heart of the security program. That's where the rubber meets the road. It's where we determine, are we going to be successful or not in reducing risk to the enterprise very kinetically. And the dilemma that we have is we're often the last to find out about changes in the enterprise, whether it's new assets and new technologies that we're adopting, but we also don't always have the business context for what these assets mean. And our job in detection and response is all about prioritization. That's the only way we succeed. We're not going to get to the bottom of the stack. We'll never get to the bottom of the inbox or the queue. We really have to prioritize our efforts. And so the most important thing that we have is insight into what matters and what doesn't, relatively speaking. And the pace of digital change has not made that any easier. So what are we to do about this? When I talk with clients about their challenges, and we talk about whether it's their budget stagnation or the fact that they can't hire or the fact of the technological change in the enterprise, we have a discussion on, what would it take? What would it take to see across your enterprise? What would it take to understand the threat and accelerate the response to threats that we know about in our environment? What would it take to be proactive in defending against adversaries? And today, I really want to share with you the solution that Accenture and Google have partnered on to be able to help you achieve these goals. So simply put, this is a breakthrough moment for detection and response for both Google and Accenture. We are partnering on the capabilities from both of our firms to be able to reimagine how security operations can be, and really as a partner in security operations, how that can be an extension of your security team within your enterprise. And also how that can be used to improve not only just deliver the service that you signed up for, but actually improve your security operations. How are you remediating vulnerabilities faster? How are you reducing risk faster? What do you understand about the threat environment? We're bringing those capabilities together. And so this is where I think a lot of the important details are. This is where you'll get the first sense of, well, what is he really talking about? What is this solution that Accenture and Google have partnered with? And so we announced our partnership back in April. It was RSA right here. And it was based on a shared vision for making our clients a more secure overall and a more secure future for them. But it's also a recognition of the unique value that we both bring to the table and the synergies that our clients are going to get out of the partnership. Accenture is the largest security services firm in the world. We're also the leader in managed detection and response. So this is what we do, and this is our specialty, one of our many specialties across the environment. And we're serving thousands of clients globally, and we've done this for over 25 years. And so Accenture MxDR is a platform that we use to deliver that service 24/7 for our clients. It's our people, it's our platform, working around the clock for them, never sleeping, always being available to them, and really being proactive and scaling out what we know about the threat landscape and being able to apply that across our entire client base. And MxDR is now powered by Google's technology, which is really exciting for us. This is a huge turn of the page for us because what Google has done with their security business, the acquisitions they've made, the integration that's happened between the acquisitions, the way that they're offering that up in their go-to-market. I hope a lot of you were excited by what you heard in the keynote about Duet AI and Vertex AI and a lot of the different capabilities that they're bringing to the table. And certainly Kevin Mandiant's talk. There's a lot of excitement around those capabilities. And so whether you look at Chronicle security operations, or you look at Mandiant's threat intelligence and breach analytics, or you look at VirusTotal, or you look at some of the capabilities coming in Security AI Workbench, or some of the foundational capabilities that we can use to build a really good service in BigQuery. How do we search our data at scale? And our dashboards in Looker, right? These are the capabilities that we're going to be building, that we're building this service on and offering this to our clients because it's going to be a superior solution for them and it really allow us to take a different approach to detection and response. And really to bring this all together, This is busy, and I know, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time on it, but this is really what great looks like in managed detection and response. This is what you hope to see and feel and experience from a service provider, and transparency and how they kind of put together their service and what works in that environment. So as you move left to right, we're going from identifying threat activity to determining a plan of action to acting on that. And we're doing that through Google's technology. So we're using the Chronicle SIM capability to ingest all of your security relevant data, bring that all to the forefront, be able to correlate that data against not only our intelligence, but also what we're seeing across the broader threat landscape. We are keeping 12 months of hot data searchable at sub-second intervals, so really fast and responsive times, no more 10, 15-minute queries that run and hang. This is an extremely responsive platform. It's brilliant. It works great for whether you're a service provider like Accenture or whether you're in the practitioner chair. It's a great experience. And we're also exposing that capability to our clients. So they can hunt at Google speed in their environment, they can explore their own data, they can make their own conclusions, and they can collaborate in the service with us. And that's not true of many managed services for those of you who have delivered that. It's not a very collaborative process. So I'm really excited about that. In addition, we're really integrating SOAR as a fundamental and integral part of how we deliver our service. So SOAR, security orchestration, automation, and response. That capability's been around for a few years. Some of you may have it up and running and are loving it within your environment. Some of you may have tried it and didn't find much success with it, and some of you may have yet to explore it. But this capability has finally come to maturity. And the way that Google has integrated their SIM and their SOAR capability makes it value add from the perspective of response and the speed that we can generate from it. So not only do the products fit together and work well together, we're actually delivering the service together on it, and we're basing our success on the efficiency of working together with both of those solutions. So this is the way that we deliver that service. And not only is it a tool that's going to help us enrich what we're seeing coming in, respond to threat activities, and really work with our clients on how we want that to flow in their environment, but we're also able to use it for case management. So how we actually go through the workflow in a SOC, which having both of those capabilities together is fantastic. And for those of you who have experienced the pain of multiple panes of glass and having to swivel seat from one tool to another, this makes it extremely simple to be able to understand your environment. And so we're really excited about bringing Chronicle SIM, Chronicle SOAR together. We are also leveraging a lot of the other great capabilities from Google. So when we talk about Mandiant threat intelligence, having that incorporated into our platform along with Accenture's threat intelligence is a really strong capability. You're getting two of the world's leading providers of threat intelligence in one platform. And I think that that's such an important value proposition, because when you say the name Mandiant out in the field, and for the uninitiated, there's very few who don't recognize the value, and if you do recognize it, it's top tier. That's going to be an exceptional capability. We're able to bring that together in the platform. We also want to hit on a couple of points here. One is that this is an all-you-can-ingest, all-you-can-consume kind of model. And so you're not penalized for learning more about your environment and ingesting more logs. That's very exciting. If you've ever had to pay by the terabyte, that can get very expensive very quickly. And there are different kinds of pricing models that can be applied. Our fully managed solution is all you can ingest. And so it's based on the number of nodes in your environment. As your environment grows, we will grow with you, but you're not penalized for learning more, for ingesting more, for understanding more security-rich context about your environment. That's more that we can use to help keep you secure. We also have a centralized web portal that we're building. That's a common way to interface with our service, and there's nothing really revolutionary about that other than you're able to consume our service, interact with our analyst, see your dashboard, understand your environment, what are our relatively high risks, what do we need to be concerned about. It's a good, and it's also based on your persona. So you could have your CISO login and be able to see all the relevant dashboards for he or she. You can also have your analyst log in and kind of find out where did we leave off in the investigation and what is the first thing I need to be doing now. So that web portal is going to be that single source of truth for that. Maybe the thing that I'm most proud of as an Accenture security employee, we have a unified content library that is both tailored for industry, and it's also contributed to actively by hundreds of professionals globally. And what this means is we have pre-built use cases, automation playbooks, reporting, dashboards, threat hunt data models, et cetera. So these are things that we can scale immediately in your environment. So if the experience as a new Accenture client would be, we understand a little bit about your environment, we activate your instance of Chronicle, SIM, and SOAR, and that is a really, quite frankly, pretty quick and straightforward process. your data stays where it belongs in your own tenant environment, segregated from all other data, but we also apply all the indicators that we're extracting so we can better defend you and our other clients. But that whole process end to end, it can be activated very, very quickly through this content library. And when you think about managed security operations, for those of you who have gone really deep into it and you know it from the inside out, you understand there's fully managed solutions, and then there might be a one-off. Maybe a client as a client, you have a special environment, you have special requirements, so the provider's going to build a custom environment for you. And what that looks like is maybe your own instance of technology, and then we come as a service provider on top of it. A lot of those teams operate independently. They're really not connected. They're doing the service for the client, and they're not really working together and scaling across. This announcement with Google, and not only platforming our MxDR solution on Google technology, it also gave us the opportunity to pull together our global content library from across our many delivery centers globally. We have 20 global SOCs and cyber fusion centers. Pull all that together and allow us to bring that to bear for clients. So that's really exciting. That's practical value for you as a client. You're going to get that immediately from the solution. And to take it one step further, I don't know how familiar you are with the architecture behind Chronicle. Maybe you've tried it, a few years back, or relatively recently, or maybe you've never seen it before. But I think the most important thing about Chronicle is the speed that we can get the value from it and its flexible integration model. So when our clients ask us why Chronicle, certainly we work with other providers and platforms, but why Chronicle, right? We share a point of view because of a number of very specific capabilities. One, it's got a rich integration ecosystem. Over 400 integrations are available, meaning odds are in your environment, Chronicle is going to natively support it. If not, we'll build parsers with Chronicle engineers to be able to support that environment. That's one point. You look at the performance and the scalability of the environment. It's hard to argue with the responsiveness of the search and how fast it can horizontally scale. We're also looking at the human factors. How do you interact with the platform? Is that a good experience? Is that an experience that you'd rather not have, but you'll live with it, right? We want our clients to be delighted by that experience and really see that responsiveness. But really, above all, with Google's vision for how they're growing their security practice and their security technology, the vision that they have on making their clients more secure, all their products are security first, right? We really have great confidence that their solution is going to grow as our needs grow for our client. And working directly with Chronicle engineers on building the solution out and helping that scale to Accenture's size. We have hundreds of clients globally. We do many engagements across all of our delivery centers. This is going to scale with us, and so that's a really exciting part to know with confidence that as a client, you're going to get a great experience and you're going to get a solution that scales with your experience. So, for to put a little bit of reality on it, right? We fully recognize that clients have investments that they've already made and platforms that they may already be very happy with. And so maybe if you're one of those clients, you don't see the value in necessarily what we're doing here because this is a Chronicle-based solution and you've already chosen what you want to do. Or maybe you are one of the clients that has very specific requirements on what you need to do, whether your data needs to stay in a certain region of the world or you have some regulatory restrictions on who can touch the platform and things like that, right? There's solutions for each client. And that's what I think one of the key messages that I want to address is whether you are more aligned to one of the two models, and the two models are on the left, it's our full stack model. That's our platform, our people, 24/7 support, globally delivered. Based on the scale, we can offer that at a really great price point, right? So that allows us to achieve the most value for clients. It's typically what we want to lead with in our discussions, unless there are some driving requirements that would cause you to need or want your own platform, in which case we're happy to work with you on that. And that's the solution on the right, which is hybrid. And for the sake of being at the conference and presenting this material, right, you can insert your own vendor names into the other SIM and SOAR products. But these are the reality of the environment that we're in. And we're never going to go into a client environment and require them to replace what they already have that might be working well for them. But we do want them to benefit from the managed service that we can deliver for them. And we do want to make this as easy as possible for them. So really, that kind of middle slice of that SOAR integration layer, that is what is really special about the service. Because that is a layer that allows us to bring our content library, our service delivery, everything that we know about the threat landscape directly to a client without them having to re-architect their environment. And so this is an approachable solution. It's straightforward to onboard, it's straightforward to utilize, and we can configure the solution for our clients and really work with whatever the tech stack is in the environment. Many clients have multiple SIMs for different reasons. That's fine, right? We can use that SOAR integration layer to cut across all of that. I think that that might be a value-added capability that you either have to build yourself or it's tough to find in the market, because I don't know too many, of the SOAR solutions that can really do a good job of centralized security monitoring with multiple security platforms that you have to pay attention to. So, thinking ahead, I think I've shared enough about what the overall solution is and maybe the flexible ways that we can deliver it. I want to leave you with hopefully a little bit of value in terms of what good looks like in security operations and ways that you can advance your SOC regardless of your tech stack, right? So when we look at what success looks like in security operations, all roads point back to intelligence. This is what we understand about our own environment. This is what the experts at Mandiant and Accenture and other threat intelligence providers tell you about your environment in terms of whether or not you're secure, whether or not you're at risk. But really, if you can align on business value and you know from the top down, what are the valuable assets? What are the valuable business processes? What are the aspects of the network that are particularly sensitive? What are our really sensitive subnet ranges? When you can understand all of those things together, and you have a good perspective on the threat landscape because you know your business and you understand your industry and you understand the adversaries that typically target your business and your industry, and you understand the vulnerability posture of your organization, and all of that is able to be integrated into the platform, and you understand through your own analytics what you're experiencing and seeing on your network today, you can bring all that together. That's true leveraged intelligence. That's applied intelligence. And when we have the conversation with our clients about what does Intel mean to you, and they may have a very prolific answer to that, or they may be struggling to respond to, I don't know that we've really figured it out. It's a feed that we have. When it dings, we pay attention, but we don't get much more out of that, right? Whether you're in either of those camps, where we start with our clients is a structured conversation on helping them understand their threat landscape. And so left to right in the bottom of this graphic are really how we have those conversations. And so we take a threat actor and we understand their ways of operating, their tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs. We help them understand that, right? Based on their industry, based on their environment. If they can name an APT group or an adversary that they want to target, we can tell the client what we know about that and help them work through that. What that helps with is prioritizing the content that we have and prioritizing the rule sets that we configure for them. Again, it's all about prioritization. So if we're building in the right direction because we're starting with the right content foundation in our SIM and our SOAR technologies, if we are aligning our capabilities in terms of our response processes on the right order of operation based on the threats that we see, we can be very successful, and we help our clients stratify on that. So we put that in a priority order. And finally, we help advise our clients on the benefit of a threat intelligence platform, because whether it's Accenture's provided or it's another threat intel platform that's provided in the market, this is really where a lot of that comes together, and you start making this real for your enterprise. And so I like to think about it this way, right? Other organizations may know a lot about you because they are scraping the internet, and they are scraping the dark web, and they are dredging up all of that intelligence that's relevant for your business. The one thing they can't see is inside of your enterprise, and those are where some of the hardest and most important lessons learned are. And you have to have a way to memorialize that within your environment. And so when we think about threat intelligence, organic or original threat intelligence is some of the most valuable that we have. And so we'd advise you to certainly collect that, use that, tell stories about that in your environment, talk about why that's important and why you never want to experience that kind of incident again and what you learned from it. But also, if you can share that back with us as a partner, we can be more effective in preventing you from experiencing that and preventing our other clients from experiencing that in a way that protects your privacy. And when we can do that across our hundreds of clients globally, that's a really powerful force. And so I'd like to share with you one more thing, which is maybe my favorite metric in what it means to be successful long-term in detection and response. So for those of you who are familiar with MITRE ATT&CK, but maybe you're not, this is a 12-step process of decomposing what we know about a threat actor's activity. This is the attack lifecycle broken down into granular bits. And the reason we do this is because we can be much more effective at defending against this when we understand the specific stages of an attack and how that typically plays out. And when you look at the model, and when you understand left to right, left is we've done a really good job and we've eliminated risk early on in the cycle, or you look right and it's a disaster and these are business impactful events. You start to think about, okay, well, obviously how can we get as far left as we possibly can be? And so by gathering your data And by organizing your data by where are we detecting this and where are we remediating these threats, we can be really effective in telling a message of, are we getting any better? I'm sure you've all been asked the question from your leadership, are we secure? And it's an impossible question. But you can spin that slightly and say, this is how much more secure we were from last year. And this is how we do it, right? We break it down into the average time to detect and the average time to remediate. We plot that out, and we can show them the growth over the time. And this is what that looks like. So the y-axis is those 12 steps of the MITRE ATT&CK framework. And as you see the plot lines, what you're looking for is a downward trend. And in this case, it's a good news story. And this is what we would tend to expect over a year serving a client. And that green line at the bottom, that's the baseline. That's what we're seeking. That's our target. That's what we're going for. This is an organization set priority, but it's really what we're striving for. And so you see the first quarter, this is a quarterly plot. So the first quarter, you see we weren't doing very good. We were being heavily impacted by the threat activity in our environment. These are things that are causing big impacts to our business and consequences, probably costing us a fortune. Maybe we're having to file claims against our cyber insurance. Maybe we're really having some painful conversations about lessons learned. Maybe our leadership team looks different. I don't know. That's a really bad news story if that's where we're starting as a data point. And you see we're not being effective in detecting or responding to any threats. As we move to the second quarter, you can see we've had a significant and noticeable improvement in detection, but remediation really hasn't moved that much. Maybe that's because we pooled all of our resources, said we're really in tough shape. Let's at least try to find where these threats are targeting us and do a really good job up front at detection. But maybe we haven't had enough time or energy to devote to having the remediation conversations, or we're having trouble building a relationship with the people that actually remediate, because we really need that solid partnership with infrastructure, with endpoints, with applications, with network, with all the parts of our business to be effective in actually responding and remediating. And so, we're slightly improving, but we've got a room to go. And then in quarter three, we see a noticeable improvement in remediation. Maybe we've been successful in negotiating what good looks like, and maybe enabling SOAR to do its job and do a really good job in protecting us from the threat activity. But our detections have actually gotten worse overall because maybe we're getting targeted by a different group, or maybe we just didn't have the right detections in place for that. So maybe the situation looked worse before it got better because we just brought a new capability on board. And then finally, we can tell a good news story in quarter four, because not only have we brought the detection and remediation statistic to the all-time low from our measurement, but we can tell a really good story about how much better off we are now that we've been on this journey. And whether you're doing this through a partner like Accenture or consuming a service like Accenture MxDR that's powered by Google, or you're using another solution, this is absolutely something that you should consider tracking, because we all have to tell the story about how much better are we. This is a really effective way and helping, and it's a way to socialize some of the vernacular that we use in security with our executives. So obviously, I'd be remiss if I did not mention generative AI and how we're leveraging generative AI, but I'm happy to say that this is a real capability that we are using to not only scale, but also help improve the quality of our delivery very, very rapidly. And so in addition to all of the great generative AI capabilities that we're leveraging, building on Vertex AI and the whole Google ecosystem, we are also building our own security AI assistant. And this is for our security operators that are serving our clients to be able to be most effective and efficient in what they do. And I think some of the toughest challenges in the field are knowing what to prioritize, being able to act quickly, spending most of our time on value-added activities, and really being able to be confident about, yes, we took the right action and we did that correctly, and that whole closed-loop feedback process for the analyst. And those are some of the use cases that we're working on. So as you look around the wheel of the use cases that we're working on, those are real things that we're powering generative AI and our models that we're utilizing, both models directly in Vertex AI and our own models that we've trained on security data, to be able to say, this is how our operations team is doing, and this is going to be their assistant to be able to help them through an investigation and rapidly reduce. And if you want to see a demo of this capability, we're in booth 401. I'd love for you to stop by and see this capability and kind of how our operators are going to be able to interact with that. In November, we're launching two of the modules here. One is the incident response reporting for our clients. In other words, making sense of this and being able to roll this up and communicate this clearly to executives. That's going to add a lot of value, as well as our ability to translate across the many languages that we have to work with, right? When we work with truly global clients that have operations in all kinds of countries, obviously it's best to communicate in the primary language that they're working in. And many times there can be things lost in translation, and it's difficult to communicate across environments. So imagine logging into the portal and anybody on your team seeing the dashboard in their native language. It's a really powerful capability that, quite frankly, not many firms can offer. So I wanted to kind of incorporate a quote that I think puts a really nice point on what we have to deal with in security. So Darwin's theory of evolution and his work in evolution really helped us understand, on an accelerated path, life on Earth, right? He helped us explain a lot of what we were seeing in life on Earth. And the trait that was most highly correlated to survival of species was the ability to adapt to change. That's what we have to do every day in security, in technology, in the fields that we're in. And that's really hard to keep up with. And so that principle really sticks well with our industry, right? The technologies that power our businesses and the economic factors that prevail and just how we interact with each other, our ability to adapt to change and move the business that maybe your business is acquiring another firm. Maybe it's divesting part of a business. Maybe it's getting into a new line of business. Maybe it's moving into a different geography. As you grow and scale, you need a partner that can adapt to that change with you. That is at the core of our ethos, if you will. That's the heart of what we do. And when you're looking at a partner in detection and response, and when you're evaluating all of the different factors that go into a decision about selecting a partner, I really wanted to be able to give something back to you that I've experienced in many of the conversations that we have with clients about why Accenture, why your service, why the technology platform, why are you going to be the right partner for us? And I'm happy to say that some of these lessons learned, we'd have confident response to all these questions, but our lessons learned are not all providers are considered equal, right? And so as you adapt to change, think about, conversations with your provider about, can they explain to you simply and transparently how they're detecting threats in your environment? Can they tell you what they're going to do with a new piece of threat data or an indicator of compromise that they see? The right answer is we're going to retro hunt against all the logs that we have for you, and we're going to tell you if we've ever seen that threat in your environment. We're going to proactively protect you from that in the future. And if you have a SOAR capability, we're going to automatically block that. We're going to block that IP on the firewall. We're going to lock that user account, those kinds of things, right? You need a confident response from that on your partner. What is the value of intelligence? Do they prioritize it? Is it an also ran? Do they have capabilities coming in from other feeds? Are they able to be used in that environment? It's very important. Are they aligned to your industry? Do they understand your business and the industry that you operate in? Do they understand the difference between an oil and gas pipeline versus a medical device in a hospital versus e-commerce platform in the cloud, right? Can they speak those languages? Can they understand where you are at as a client and really partner deeply with you? It's a very, very important decision. And then can they serve your whole enterprise? And maybe most importantly these days is, how are you going to keep costs down year to year? What are the things that you're doing to become more efficient? Because I don't want to see escalating costs every year. Your service needs to be getting more efficient, and you need to prove to me how you're going to do that. Generative AI is one way to do that, and that's certainly one of the many things that we're doing. But this global model is super important to us for doing that. So with that cheat sheet in mind, I started with, how are you going to approach this? Or what would it take to? What would it take to see across the enterprise? What would it take to understand the threat and accelerate our response? And to be able to adapt and be able to keep ahead of threat actors. What you need is a great partner who has experience in delivering the service at scale, designing, building, and running, not just running, but designing and building security operations. That's very important. You get a lot of perspective by having to build things from the ground up and then understanding the value of managed service and the integration of that. Super important. We need to be able to understand the threat and not only contextualize what you're seeing, but add value to that through the threat intelligence that's being curated all the way from the strategic level of what's going on geopolitically, what's going on in the threat actor communities, what's going on in the dark web forums, but also very tactical intelligence that we can use in your environment. How can we accelerate response? Is SOAR a core part of the strategy, or is it something that we do because a lot of clients ask for and we bolt it on and we use it if clients ask for it, but it's really kind of something on the side? Because for us, it's a core part of our strategy. And we need to make sure that our clients see the value of that. They understand that there's a lot of flexibility in how we do that. That is a consultative process of, what action would you like us to take? Would you like to be involved in the response process? One of the really interesting things that we can do with Chronicle SOAR, if you're not familiar, we can put a human in the loop for specific steps in a playbook. So that if there is a detection that fires on one of your critical assets, and for a end user workstation, we would contain it immediately. We don't want that anywhere near our network. But this is a critical web server. This is serving up a critical application that runs our business. What do we do in that scenario? Well, I want my security administrator, or I want my lead security analyst in the SOC, our top tier analyst, to be able to make sense of this and work with our application team to coordinate maybe the restoration of service, the takedown, or how we reconstitute the service and relaunch that, that new clean instance, right? So we can put that human in the loop to be able to take that action and really involve our clients in the response process. That's a really exciting capability. And then finally, from the proactive standpoint, how are we bringing together all of our operations data, right? How are we really leveraging the scale that we're operating at? If your provider serves hundreds and hundreds of clients every year, I would expect a service that also can leverage the benefits of the hundreds and hundreds of client engagements. I wouldn't want my engagement to only be in its separate box without the ability to really benefit from that. And that's really what we've tried to build here. So hopefully you gained something from this. I'd love, additional questions or anything that you might want to share. Really, if you're, we'd love to, be challenged on what we're doing here and seeing, why you may doubt that this would work in your environment. But I really thank you for the time. Accenture, we're really, really excited about the MxDR platform, powered by Google technology. A lot of exciting announcements from Google here. I encourage you to do that. We have great partners across Chronicle and Mandiant and VirusTotal, and really bringing all those capabilities to bear. So thank you very much for the time, and hope to see you around and answer your questions, maybe at booth 401 or off to the side here later. Thank you.